So let's talk about another stage of life that possibly we're at this time in our life. And so maybe we are in our 30s or our 40s. And so we've had maybe an opportunity to find that significant other, to find our mate, to establish our circle of family and friends, to maybe purchase our first home, to live in our home, or we're out to make our mark upon the world. Well, this stage can be just as complicated as the previous one that we talked about when we're talking about dealing with the issues of the sexual abuse. And that's because possibly we haven't had an opportunity to process and to work through the issues. And maybe the issues of the abuse are actually just locked deep down subconsciously in our minds, and we don't even recognize the ways in which they're being manifested in our life. For example, I was working with a survivor, and he was in his 30s, and he reported that during this time of life, he had his children, his sons. And during this time in life, it was really difficult for him to just change the diapers, to give his children baths, to give his sons even hugs and show affection. Because anytime he did that, it would inadvertently trigger flashbacks of the sexual abuse. And so it would produce some very uncomfortable feelings of disgust and hurt for him, and even anger. I had another survivor I worked with who was in his 40s, and for him the issue was with his coworkers. Now, he was a real nice guy, real nice person, didn't have, if we want to call it, a racial prejudice bone in his body. But for some reason, he had an issue with the ethnicity of his colleagues. And it took, maybe some coaching sessions for him to realize that what he was doing was, because the coworkers, his colleagues, were of the same ethnicity of the person who abused him, he was having these feelings of revulsion and contempt towards them, or he was projecting that on to them. And so he's very agitated. Then I had another survivor that I worked with who was also in his 30s, and he just had these feelings of being damaged goods, of being worthless because of the sexual abuse, to the point where it prompted him to jump out of a car going 65 miles an hour while his wife was driving and the kids were in the back seat. Well, this is one of the reasons I'm so glad that Healing Broken Men is here. Because what it means is that you don't have to remain stuck. You don't have to remain stuck, whatever, in this stage, dealing with the sexual abuse, having it manifest in your life and not knowing what to do. Healing Broken Men is a place where you can create those family networks and build those relationships and try to have healthy relationships with other individuals. Healing Broken Men is a place where you don't have to apologize for what happened to you. You don't have to be ashamed of what happened to you. And it's not a place where we're going to say, well, just suck it up and move on. It's a place where there's compassion, and there's a place where there is hope. It's also a place where you can start measuring your progress of your recovery as you continue to reclaim your life. The one thing I enjoy about this and about coaching is that, I'm not some person setting up whatever on the pinnacle. I'm just simply a male survivor life coach. And what I like is about it that we learn from each other. So I learn from you, you learn from me. And so we're always sitting at the table looking at each other. No big eyes, no little U's, not looking down or up, but just looking straight at each other. So what I want to encourage you, maybe you're in this phase of life and you're dealing with some of the issues of the sexual abuse. Once again, I want to encourage you, go to the website right here. It's not that bad. All you got to do is go to healingbrokenmen.com. And right there, you'll find just different resources for you, podcasts that you can listen to, forums that you can join, special reports that you can download, or maybe even some of the books that I've written might help you, whatever. What I want to encourage you, though, is I want to encourage you to do something. And if you realize that the sexual abuse is taking hold of you in your life, then I want to encourage you to do something. You know, talk with your therapist, talk with people who love you. And then maybe you can actually use Healing Broken Man to accompany that on your journey. There is hope and there is freedom.